Welcome back to Coast Live. We've got a new show for you. 12/13/2025, Saturday. And we're broadcasting live here from a nondescript underground bunker location somewhere in the heartland of America. We've got some more news for you. Magic Caravan to Midnight Top 30, curated by the Joe Shmogan and Stewey Lewis Show, right here at Coast to Coast Live. Looks like Stewey moved some stuff around on the top 30, so I guess we'll get straight into that. Since we normally only do a top 10 or 15 or 20, but now Stewey has moved on to the top 30. Casey Kasem, look out. All right. So we've got a number one, Magic Caravan Volume 3 official video out on social media. And it's doing pretty well. It's got the new psychedelic UFO footage in there with the SR-72 Dark Star. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Deuces Wild, number 2, Magic Caravan. Number 3, Magic Caravan Volume 3, live version. Number 4, For Those About to Rock, AC/DC. Number 5, Uptown Hustler, Magic Caravan, been there a while. Number 6, Right on the Edge, Super Ego. Super Ego, new band out of Wisconsin. Right on the Edge is a hot track that Stewey Lewis moved straight up to the 6th position and even created a video for that track. Number 7, Money for Nothing, Dire Straits. Number 8, Hurricane by Cannons. Still a super hot video and track. Michelle Joy, lead vocalist. Need to check that out if you haven't seen that yet. And Paul on bass and Ryan on guitar. Number 9, All Along the Watchtower, Magic Caravan cover. Number 10, Jesus Just Left Chicago, ZZ Top. Number 11, Voices Carry by Kate Hudson. Number 12, Tom Sawyer, Rush. Stewey Lewis moved that up to number 12 this week. Number 13, Thank You by Dido. Number 14, Sultans of Swing cover by Magic Caravan. Number 15, Planet Caravan by Pantera. Number 16, Riviera Maya, instrumental by Magic Caravan. Number 17, Can't You Hear Me Knockin', Rolling Stones. Number 18, Desolation Road by Magic Caravan. Number 19, Sweetest Taboo by Sade. Number 20, Moving in Stereo by The Cars. Number 21, Skywalker, Magic Caravan. Number 22, Heartbeat City, The Cars. 23, Pally Gap by Magic Caravan. Number 24, Red Hill Mining Town, U2. 25, Night Prowler, AC/DC. Great track. 26, Shaman Soulfire, Magic Caravan. Number 27, Love is a Battlefield by Pat Benatar. Number 28, Smooth Operator, Sade. Number 29, The Window, Steve Miller Band. And number 30, Magic Caravan Volume 2 by Magic Caravan. All right, that's it for the top 30. Stewey Lewis and Joe Shmogan have been busy. All right, newsroom. Coming out of the newsroom this week. Newsroom. We've got gold, 43.29 an ounce, 43.29.80. I think that went up again. It did since last week. I haven't been watching it that close, but that's definitely, I think we were at 4,200 last week, so not bad. Silver hits an all-time high at 62. They've been telling everybody, invest in silver while you can, because it's a hedge against inflation, just like gold. And, yeah. Number 2, vaccines. Over at Redacted, they've got an expose going on over there. I don't want to get into it too much, other than the fact that vaccines are bad. Okay? That's all I got to say. Number 3, I mean, unless you really need it, you know? Like to save your life or something and you know it's going to work. Other than that, don't be trying to jab me with anything. Okay? No jabs. No jabs here, please. Number 3. Mineral update. Yeah. Well, the mineral situation is still going. All types of rare minerals are extremely valuable at the moment and continuing to go up in value for the purpose of national security, weaponry, military use, so forth. All types. Gold, obviously, is used in all kinds of things. And then there's all types of other rare minerals that, they need as well. So, which we've been importing from other countries for quite some time, and probably need to get back here on the home front and start doing that stuff here, which is what I think they're trying to do currently. Trying to get back on track with the minerals. So I know they have definitely loosened up some regulations and increased funding opportunities, yada yada. All right, so Alex Jones, General Flynn had a nice little conversation this week. You might want to check that out over at InfoWars. And Snow Cold, Whippersnapper. I just wanted to say whippersnapper. So it's cold, as I mentioned. Very low digits, -7 with the wind chill, I think, today. So don't be outside for more than 15 minutes. They say you can get frostbite just being out there. So if you have to be, make sure you're covered up. Don't want to lose any limbs, any phalanges over some cold. It's just not worth it. Documentary, KGC. Yeah, so, you may have heard I've been working on a documentary or 2 or 3, or a series and a movie and the whole 9 yards. And it's been going on for years, because they gave me mixed messages. They said, yeah, we're doing this. And then, oh, no, we're not doing this. We can't do this. So, it's been kicked around and pushed back and forth. And basically to the point where it's gotten political. I can tell people have taken political sides, even though the material rewrites history based off my book, Quest of the Giant J. Rewrote history like 5 times. And now it's been verified, though, by the respected KGC expert community. So, you can say all kinds of things and you know, pretend that you know Jesse James all you want, and pretend that you know the real story about who he was and what he did, you know, and rewrite history possibly if you have that information to do so. But until somebody in the expert community of the KGC gets involved, you know, you're just, you know, blowing in the wind. You know, so but now that's happened, and I have actually been verified by experts within the KGC community that I'm not crazy, you know, and that I really did rewrite history, and that, you know, a whole lot of things. So, you know, we're going to get into it in the documentary, exactly, you know, how I verify and release new declassified information on Jesse James. So, completely rewrites history on Jesse James, on who he was, what he was doing, why he did what he did, you know, and the real guy, the real identity, which has never been identified. Just so you know. The guy from Missouri was a cousin to Jesse Woodson James, the outlaw that they were looking for. So they identified, who was also named Jesse James. The guy from Missouri was named Jesse James, but he was Jesse Robert James, who was a cousin. And so, which it says Jesse R. James on the 1850 census, but nobody went to look at that, you know, when they faked the death in 1882 and put Jesse Woodson James on the tombstone, because that's who they were looking for. And then so essentially both Jessies faked their death that day, and that's been kind of a rumor that he faked his death ever since. And the fact that there were two of them that were cousins, that never even came out. There were also, both Jessies had brothers that went by Frank, so there were two Franks and two Jessies, one from Tennessee and one set of cousins from Missouri. Jesse and Frank from Missouri were younger, and Jesse and Frank from Tennessee were like much older, like their father's age, because they just were, and they didn't have half of the story right, you know, from the beginning. And so, all the James boys were part of a secret spy network called the KGC, which was a legitimate spy division of the Confederate Army. And Jesse Woodson James was actually the field commander for the spy division of the Confederate Army. So he wasn't just running around robbing banks because that's what he wanted to do. That was his job, was to consolidate all the gold, which, you know, he had to get, hence the term Knights of the Golden Circle. Back then, most of the money was in gold coin. So, you know, that's basically what he did, was collect all the gold from all the banks and put that into the Confederate treasury. Not only was he the field commander, but he was the comptroller for the Confederate Treasury Department, so that he could pay all the spy operatives in the field. And he did that through a systematic burial system, using codes and symbols in the wilderness to disguise the location of where he would put people's payroll. So, which was often near railroad tracks or stables that were used. But you still had to have the information that it was there, you know, and so forth. So, you know, they would give information out, where to go look, to dig up your payroll for the week or month or whatever. So, yeah, we're going to get into that in the documentary. And there's a lot more, way a lot more. So, most people had no idea that Jesse faked his death and that he became, you know, the richest man in the world back in 1882, which was only known by certain people within the spy community that he operated in. So until that came out, most people, just speculated on who Jesse James was. He was an outlaw who robbed banks. That's in trains and banks. Robbed more trains and banks than anybody in history. And then and then Bob Ford killed him, and then the story's over. Well, not quite, folks. Not quite. So, the story's long. I don't really want to get into it here. I don't have that much time. I could ramble for hours just about all the property locations that Jesse owned and, that the family still owns. It's crazy. It's, when you're the richest man in the world back then, you have all the gold. Nobody ever found the Confederate treasure, by the way. They're still looking for it. So that kind of, gets unraveled in my book. A lot of the declassified files were classified within Jesse's grandson's estate, who was also an Army colonel, Colonel Jackson, and so who was cousins to President General Andrew Jackson, General Stonewall Jackson. And so, Stonewall Jackson was second in command of the entire Confederate Army. And when he was killed, the other branch of the Jacksons took over for him, or at least for the Jackson Brigade, which was under Stonewall's command, and put under Jesse's command. And a lot of people don't know that, but he was the field commander for the KGC, so his job was to take the Confederacy underground in 1863 after Stonewall was killed. And so they literally went underground and operated covertly throughout the entire country until they built the Federal Reserve, which became the largest bank system in the world. And, so, they put a bunch of gold into the Federal Reserve and then, ran out the interest to $30 trillion. And now here we are, 35 trillion or whatever. And, sure, they put gold in there. It was backed by gold up until one point, until they took us off the gold system. Whoever did that, that was their decision. But then they took us off back in 1975. And so, which was the year I was born. And, here we are now. And gold is going through the roof. So, from an investment standpoint, gold seems to be a pretty solid investment. And that's something that, obviously Jesse, being the field commander for the KGC, was very aware of the value of gold and the long-term value of gold. And so, there was a publication at one point on all the publication by a relative of mine in regards to how much property Jesse owned, because nobody really knew, and they had to document it somewhere so that somebody who needed to know would know, where he put everything. So that's kind of going to come out in the documentary, I think, because my KGC expert guy, who, basically said I'm a KGC expert and a Jesse James expert because I've, declassified all the information and, rewrote history with my book. He wrote his book 30 years ago. And so there's, been a number of gray areas, I think, that have been completely uncovered, for the first time on the subject, that blows everybody's minds. Everybody. Everybody's minds are blown. So that's just how it goes when you're dealing with Jesse James. Number 7. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Signing out from the Joe Shmogan and Stewey Lewis Show. Over and out. Keep rocking.
Christmas